In the heart of a lush village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a young woman named Kamaria. Her skin was the color of dark honey, and her eyes sparkled like the stars on a clear night. She came from a long line of wise women who had healed their people with herbs and knowledge passed down through generations. Kamaria, like her ancestors, possessed an innate gift with plants, herbs, and the magic of the land. She lived with her grandmother, Amora, in a humble but beautiful home made of woven palm fronds. Kamaria had always been close to her grandmother, who taught her the ways of their people. But more than her wisdom, Amora had always instilled in Kamaria the importance of love and unity. "Love, my child," Amora often said, "is the true magic that binds us all." One warm afternoon, as Kamaria walked to the village well to fetch water, she crossed paths with Kofi, a young man who had recently moved to the village. His tall frame and chiseled features caught Kamaria's attention, but it was the kindness in his eyes that held her gaze. Kofi was a man of few words but had a presence that spoke volumes. He had come to the village to escape the painful memories of his past, leaving behind a life filled with sorrow and regret in the city. At the well, Kofi struck up a conversation with Kamaria. He spoke softly, yet there was a sense of deep yearning in his voice. Kamaria listened intently, intrigued by his quiet nature. As they shared their stories, a connection blossomed between them. Kamaria felt an undeniable pull toward him, something she had never experienced before. Over the weeks that followed, Kamaria and Kofi spent more and more time together. They wandered through the village, collecting herbs, or sat by the fire as Kofi played his guitar, singing songs of old. Kamaria would often find herself lost in his music, feeling the weight of his unspoken sorrow in each note. She could tell that Kofi's heart was heavy, but he never spoke of the past. It was as if he was waiting for something or someone to heal him. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, casting the village in a soft golden hue, Kamaria sat with Kofi by the riverbank. The air was filled with the scent of jasmine and wildflowers, and the sound of the river flowing seemed to whisper secrets in the wind. Kofi turned to Kamaria, his expression serious. "Kamaria," he said softly, "I have fallen in love with you. You have brought light to a heart that was once dark. But there is something you must know about me." Kamaria looked at him, her heart beating faster. "What is it, Kofi?" Kofi hesitated, then continued, "I am not who I say I am. My past, it is filled with mistakes. The kind that cannot be erased, no matter how much time passes. I am haunted by it, Kamaria. I left everything behind in the city to escape the shame. I fear that my past will destroy everything good that has come into my life." Kamaria's heart ached as she listened to him. She had sensed the pain behind his words, but now it was clearer than ever. She took his hand in hers, her touch warm and comforting. "Kofi," she whispered, "love is not about perfection. It is about accepting each other, flaws and all. I see the man you are now, not the one you were. We can heal together, with patience and understanding." But Kofi shook his head, his eyes filled with sorrow. "You don't understand, Kamaria. My past is too dark. The people I wronged, the lives I shattered, I cannot face them. I cannot bring that darkness into your life." Kamaria felt tears welling up in her eyes as she gently cupped his face. "We can face it together. Love is not about running away from the past. It is about confronting it, together." Kofi stood up, taking a step back from her. "I wish I could believe that," he said, his voice breaking. "But I know my demons. And I cannot let you suffer because of them." Kamaria reached out to him, but he turned away, walking slowly toward the edge of the river. She watched him, feeling an overwhelming sense of loss. It was as if the very essence of their love was slipping through her fingers, like water flowing away into the distance. Days passed, and Kamaria waited for Kofi to return, hoping that he would find the courage to face his past. But he never came. Instead, he disappeared into the night, leaving only a letter behind. The letter was simple but heart-wrenching. Kofi wrote that he could not bear to bring his pain into Kamaria's life, and though he loved her deeply, he had to leave to find peace on his own. He thanked her for showing him what love truly was, but believed that the only way for him to heal was to be alone. Kamaria felt her heart break as she read his words. She wanted to run to him, to hold him, to tell him that they could face anything together. But it was too late. Kofi had made his choice, and she was left with nothing but the memory of their love. As time passed, Kamaria continued her work with the herbs, healing others in the village. But she was never the same. The joy that once filled her heart was now clouded by the sadness of Kofi's absence. She often visited the riverbank where they had shared their last moments, hoping to feel his presence, but it was always empty. Years went by, and Kamaria grew old, her hair turning silver and her face etched with the lines of time. Yet, her heart never truly healed. She loved Kofi until the end of her days, holding on to the hope that one day he would return. But he never did. One evening, as Kamaria sat by the fire, surrounded by her grandchildren, she told them the story of her lost love. Her voice was soft, but the sorrow was still evident in her eyes. "Love, my children," she said, "is the greatest gift we can give. But sometimes, even love is not enough to heal the wounds of the past." And so, Kamaria's story became a legend in the village, a tale of love, loss, and the unbreakable bond between two souls, even when the world and their past tried to tear them apart.